You and I with Rashmi Shetty is a human library audio podcast bringing in stories of people you and I can draw inspiration from. Welcome to the third season of this amazing story listening journey. Ordinary folks, extraordinary lives, their uniqueness and individuality, making them interesting to talk to and to listen to, each one of them completely connected to the voice in me and with motivational stories of moving beyond themselves to make a difference in the world. A reaffirmation of the fact: open your eyes wider. The world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. It's Yoga Day today, and my guest is a yoga therapist, master trainer, functional nutritionist, and founder of Sankalp Yoga Shala, Summa Ramesh. She deeply believes in the power of intention and has designed all her therapies and workshops drawing strength from the universal force. She believes in a mentor-mentee relationship and empowers her clients to take their healing into their own hands. Suma's extremely patient and empathetic approach guarantees that no kind of force is used on her clients. She lets the client's body decide the course, and her unconditional acceptance of the same delivers results beyond measure. Her CSR Project RedTent is all about creating awareness amongst young girls, both in rural and urban areas, around how is the female body made and its functions, what is the role and phases of the menstrual cycle, how lifestyle and mindset affects the body, what alternative ways can be used to keep the period regular and bearable, how to embrace and accept her femininity. Listen in as Summa shares her journey with yoga and what yoga means to her. Hi, Summa. Such a pleasure having you on You and I with Rashmi Shetty. I'm so excited because it's International Yoga Day. I was so thrilled when I met you. International Yoga Day made yoga very special world over. But there was a time when India valued anything that came from the West, and yoga also was one of those that when it came from the West, we valued it a lot more. Your journey into yoga, I'm really curious about. But before that, what was little Summa like to the Summa Ramesh that the world knows?
Yeah. So little Suma was very, very bubbly, shy, very happy in her own world, not bothered about what's happening around. And then also I was into a very religious and superstitious family, a joint family for many decades. And then everything suddenly changed when I hit my puberty at 16. And then from then onwards, this inward journey of self-discovery started, from which today I'm able to help people heal themselves and telling them how their body can heal by the power of yoga, and then the kind of quantum physics which I teach them. And then also looking at various this religious beliefs, converting that into spirituality, and then also converting the English suffer into Hindi suffer in people's life is what I've been doing in the last 2 decades or so. So this is how it started.
Wow, I love the way you're playing with words. But little Summa, at 16, if you took that inward journey, what exactly shifted, Summa, and when did yoga come into your life?
So at 16, when I got my first puberty, my ovaries ruptured, which happens 1 in crore people. So my ovary had to be removed, and that was the turning point of life. Then I used to think, why me? Now I know why me it is. So basically, when they removed the ovaries, and then they said that I will go into a menopause at a very early age, and then I have to have kids very early. There were so many things. And then since I belong to a very conservative family, the whole focus from my education came into my marriage, and then how they can set me into some family so that I will not have any issues later on. So whenever I used to go to a function, people used to say, she looks so good, she has such long hair, she studies so well, but who will marry a girl who cannot have kids? So this is, I'm talking about 30 years back. when the situations people didn't know what it is. For them, it was like removing ovary means that's it, end of life, and she cannot have kids. But luckily, by God's grace and by proper yoga practice and then lot of other inner work which I have done, I have two kids. My one daughter is 22 and my son is 17.
I really love meeting people who have faced life head on. So, in this journey, when everyone was telling you that, okay, you cannot have kids, what gave you the courage to take that inward journey and work on yourself?
So, because I was thinking, like, why are people talking like this? Because even I had no idea about it. Then it was like basically to understand why me. When everybody of my cousins or every friend of mine or everybody are having a normal life, why cannot I have a normal life? And that's when my dad took me to my first yoga class, and then people didn't know what ovaries are in a yoga class. And then my dad was like, they don't know what problem you are facing through, and then how will I put them into their hand? And my dad was running from pillar to post to find some help for me. And then my dad knew that this is the only way that she can help herself. By then, all these words had set into my system so much that I had started hating my periods. And then I had started hating my body. And then repeatedly, I started falling ill continuously. And then one day, when I started then my yoga journey with a normal yoga class, and then within a week, I saw that I became very calm. From a person who is very angry, who started hating herself, something changed inside myself. And then I said, okay, and then I continued on and off. But then I understood that this is something which is like helping me inside out. And that's where the journey began. And by then, I got married by the age of 17 to my cousin so that I'm safe in the house in case if I do not have kids. And there I started my journey with him. We are married for 25 years now. And then I started continued my education, BA psychology I took up with the kids. And then I took up an instructor course in Atma Darshan, which is very close to my house. And then things started to like unfold itself. When I did my BA psychology, I understood that body is nothing, it's the mind and then the body comes in. And the whole focus here was on body when it comes to yoga. I'm talking about 3 decades ago. And then I felt, but it was not about that when I practiced yoga. That's what I felt. And then Atma Darshan gave me a very inward closure towards the mind, body, and soul connection. And then I went a couple of years there, and then the Munger Ashram opened a course here for my luck. And that's where I did my 2-year course from Bihar School of Yoga. And then that gave me a complete different insight about the healing. And then slowly I got into other schools of yoga. And then also Ayurveda somewhere was one concept which I always wanted to learn. So I joined a clinic in Sanjay Nagar called Vedic Treat, where I worked for a year and understood the way how the body and then the Ayurveda concepts. Then slowly I moved to Mysore to learn Hatha Yoga under Bharat Shetty sir for 1 year. After that, then I moved to Kerala with another teacher called Mahesh sir, who was from whom I got exposed to the yoga therapy world. And from there, I went to Chennai to learn about Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, because for me, yoga was not just physical. It's like a chikitsa for me. Yoga is a chikitsa in itself. So that time when I'm talking about 2 decades ago, people were still understanding yoga. They had made it like a cult. So Ayangari means you only have to practice Ayangari. If you're somebody from Hatha Yoga, you're only practicing Hatha. Or if you're from Ashtanga group, you're only practicing Ashtanga. So I didn't want to become a cult at that time. For me, it was very clear in the mind that yoga is so vast, it is so wide, and then we can actually make it like a package which for a person, whoever comes according to his needs. This was very clear. And then when I went to Chennai to Srimati, who was a teacher in Krishna Mandiram Yoga Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram. That's where I got a more clear picture that Mysore style classes are the best. So many people do not know what is a Mysore style class. So basically, Mysore style class is 20 people come to the same class of all ages, of all backgrounds, and they all have their own sequences which we design for their practice. So basically, people have a problem. The moment we say yoga, the first picture comes is head down, leg up, and somebody doing a different difficult posture. The main reason they give is I'm either too old or either I'm too young to start yoga or I'm not flexible. And then these are the kind of reasons they give for not practicing yoga. But actually, this is all a myth. Anybody who is breathing can do yoga is my concept. It's basically yoga is a discipline, and then you need to get on that mat for 1 hour without any expectation. That 1 hour of your journey on the mat, it's like infinite things which you are going to get. If you're coming to a mat with an expectation, it's not going to work.
Okay, I love this. If you come to the mat with expectations, it won't work. But going back to your journey with yoga, now that you've done so many different schools and so many different types of yoga and understanding what yoga is in a little more detail than most of us know, what, according to you, is the simplest explanation or definition of yoga?
Yoga is, there are thousands of meanings, and I would not get into any of the Sanskrit words. I just want to speak in a common man's language. So, yoga is nothing but an inward journey where you find your self. It's physically, mentally, emotionally, and also yoga builds a spiritual connection. I always say there are thousands of people or crores of people in the world. Why only few people get that opportunity to practice yoga? That's because that's there, that Sanskriti is there in his genes, or the karma which they have come with. They have that those people only can practice yoga. Everybody cannot practice yoga.
I remember this teacher telling me this, that if you have the yoga, only you will do yoga. And now, when you say this, I remember that. But when it comes to yoga, Suma, there are so many misconceptions around yoga, and there are yoga classes people go to. But what I liked about your introduction was you said that you're a yoga therapist. What is the therapy that you actually do? And can you go a little detail into what exactly and how exactly you work with your clients?
Yeah. So first, let me clear the difference between an yoga therapist and an yoga instructor. So you need to become an yoga instructor first, then you become an yoga therapist. So yoga instructor is a person who is going to give instructions for 1 complete hour. And then that's what they do. There is nothing more significant with that. Whereas in yoga therapist, she's going to first have a consultation with the person, find out what is the root cause of what the problem is, and then they start working. Either finding out the body constitution, what is their occupation, what is their mental status, or what is their emotional status, and why this problem has arisen. So first finding the root cause and then helping them. For example, if somebody comes with a breast cancer, so that person is being giving so much unconditional love in the family, but nobody is accepting it. So that reversal is where the women in the house goes through this breast cancer. So I use even quantum physics to understand why the disease comes to the person, and I explain to them. Otherwise, it is a repeated pattern of getting it back again and again. So we need to work at the root cause. And then whatever is required, removing the inflammatory food, then telling them what is their body nature, what are the things which they need to change so that the body completely and holistically change. So yoga therapist is somebody who is going to design, like how you have a designer for your dress, you have a designer for your house. Yoga therapist, I always ask, why not a designer for your practice? And I also do not understand the concept after learning so many schools of different practices. How come for a dress we go to 10 shops, we try a dress and we buy? And how, like, your dress won't fit me, my dress won't fit you? How come the same practice where 100 people come to the class, they all practice? Yes, it is going to do some benefit, but taking out 1 hour in this busy schedule and coming to the mat is something big. So that 1 hour should be like completely profitable to them, and then to get meaning to that 1 hour of Their time is what I always believed in and should create some difference. Yes, the general classes do create, but it's at a superficial level. I always didn't want to do anything which the crowd did. I always wanted to stand out of the crowd and basically help people.
Hmm.
So that was the main focus, and also not making yoga as a cult, which was very clear in my head.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now, going back to your journey with yoga, at a time when the world around you said that, okay, what will happen? You said you took to yoga and it was an inward journey. How was yoga useful in helping you understand your body and fall in love with yoga itself as a whole?
Yoga taught me to fall in love with myself first. That was the major change, because I was somebody who's always outward. And then since I was into a joint family, it was only about more of don'ts than do's in our family. And then this kind of the situation which arised around me started making me hate myself. Like, I'm staying in my own body, and if I'm hating, will it heal? So this is where the voice started coming from inside, that this is not you. I had suddenly become a very arrogant person from what I was earlier, and suddenly, like, not talking to anybody, just staying away from people, which I'm not. I'm a very extrovert person, and this situation turned me into an introvert. And that's where it helped me get in touch of whom I was. That's why I started the conversation, a bubbly, not caring for anything, always playful. That was what I was missing. I always cannot be somebody whom I am not. So I'm very clean from my thoughts, very clean from my actions, very clean from my words. So I always, my dad has taught, never hurt anybody through your words, action, or deeds. This has been taught to me from day one of what I remember. And always he said, just follow this. You don't have to do any scriptures, nothing. If you can do these three things, not hurting with words, action, or deeds, you will go into some other different level. So when I'm hurting myself with my actions and words and deeds, it was like himsa to myself. And to even understand at that age, and people used to not understand. They were seeing that it's just a ovary they've removed, that's all. And I knew that it was not that. And then also, I had not accepted my femininity, and that's the reason why I had lost my ovary, because in my house there were more of boys, and always the people in the house, they used to tell us, you should not mature fast, otherwise you can't play with the boys, you cannot go out. These were so many myths which they had put into my head. And that's why I run an NGO called RedTent, where we educate young girls about menstruation and spirituality, and then how we set up red tents in schools where they do a certain yoga practice, where they don't have to use any kind of medications for their stomach pain. And also we promote cloth sanitary pad so that the chemicals don't enter their bloodstream. Basically, we give a complete holistic program to understand and love themselves. So this is the one which has come out from there.
And right there, a question. Normally, it's said that during your menstruation, during that cycle, the period cycle, you're not supposed to do any exercise or yogasana.
Restorative practice must be done. So here around 150 students come, and they might miss other days of their class, but during cycle they don't miss their classes.
Oh,
So
okay.
there is a particular sequence which Geeta Iyengar ma'am of Iyengar School of Pune has built, and that is the widely used sequence around the world for women. And this is again a misconception that you should not practice during the cycle. So there is something called restorative, which is very much required. And many people, after practicing the first day, they say, "Ma'am, I forgot that I got my periods." So that's the kind of change it brings in. And that's where we set up in schools and colleges so that they stop using pills.
And this red tent, for how long have you been doing it?
It's from 3 years we have been doing, and then it's a CSR program.
Okay, okay. Now, you have been helping so many people. You've been a yoga therapist now for what, 2 decades, 3 decades? How
It's
long?
22 years now.
22 years. I'm sure there are some stories which you hold very close to your heart. about how this entire design, like what made you said that you didn't want to be part of any cult, and that was very clear in your mind. How did you bring in, and you also spoke about quantum physics being part of your explanations. So how did you blend all of that, Suma, in a way where it became easy for people, the layman, to understand? Because quantum physics as a subject is seen as like a hi-fi subject, right? How do you bring it to layman terms and use all of those concepts to make your students?
Yeah. So it was a quite challenging task when I said I won't do a group class, and neither I will do one-to-one therapy class. I want to do Mysore style Atha Ashtanga therapy class. My teacher said, I think so you have lost it. And then you need to rethink what you want to do. It's not a small job what you're going to start. And then it's a vast subject. And then you need a lot of manpower and experience, and then there's a lot of discouragement from every angle, even at home. They're like, you want to work 12, 13 hours. Before I used to do 1 hour class, 120 students. Everybody were happy. I was not happy. So the general class. So they're like, why you want to put extra effort and why you want to do? Like I used to say, I'm not happy in the class. So like I know this person today is low, and then today is a forward bend class, and he's going to go into more low. And I know that somebody, the other person is like extremely extrovert. He comes to an evening class, and if there is a backbending that day, he's not going to go home and sleep. So for me, the principles were very clear in the head how to teach a person. I do not know how I got them. Might be it was too many exposure and then studying a lot. For me, the principles were very, very clear. And now, for example, a person who is sitting the whole day, definitely I'm not going to make them sit in the class. For him, it will be completely standing. So each person needs different, and his age is different, occupation is different. The body, especially when I studied kinesiology. Kinesiology is the structure of the body. You study the body type, like the way the body structure is, and you design the sequence. Otherwise, people get lower back pain, they get shoulder pain, leg pain. For me, it was very clear in the head that I'm going to put all the principles which I have studied, and then I'm going to bring about a change. There are many people who have come from different yoga schools where they have been practicing since 5, 6 years. They've always come and told to me, ma'am, what we got result in 1 month in your class, we have not seen in the last 3 to 4 years in the different classes. So that's the magic what you can do. And coming to quantum physics, when I joined the London School of Energy, it was like a vast subject for me. But I knew that we all are energy beings, and then we all vibrate at different frequencies, and that's how things change. I do not know from where I picked up this, but for me, it was very clear that everything is in the mind and everything is energy. And you need to tune into that energy of the mind, the subconscious mind, if you want to heal yourself. This came to me 2 decades ago, and when I used to speak to my friends, they were like, okay, something is wrong with her. Because energy and all, 2 decades ago, it was not so common. Now it is like very normal. But when I started speaking about them, like, see, now I don't feel like going near that person, or like I feel like talking to that person. They're like, it's nothing. It is just that you're liking the way the person is appearing, or might be. So they did not understand that concept. Then I felt might be I'm not normal, and then I just kept quiet. And then when quantum physics, as I started studying, everything what was happening in my life was making in sense. Especially Louise Hay, Heal Your Life. That book transformed my life like a flip of a coin. And then I understood why the problems were coming. It was me who was inviting the problem, and it was not the situations around. And then once I started understanding, my body started healing like magic. And then also after the Ayurveda part, and then understanding naturopathy, how food can heal body, both mind, physical body and mental body needs to be healed together. And that's how things started. Bringing them all together is a big task. So Monday I do something with the food. Tuesday I speak to the client something about the yoga practice. Then Wednesday I speak about their emotional state. Then I speak about whatever their issues are there. So I used to divide in each person for 5 days, 5 things to be implemented by the end of the week. So this is how I used to plan for all the people who used to come to studio. That's a big task. Every Saturday and Sunday, the whole weekend goes in planning for the entire shala.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. That's a
lot of work.
Yeah.
But when I turn back now and see, it's a very, I feel very happy about the kind of difference I'm bringing in people's health and life. And then it gives me immense satisfaction. And then very grateful to the universe for choosing me as a channel to flow through. So this is what I would like to say.
Wow. That's very true. You are definitely the chosen one. But do you have some stories, Suma, of people who've come to you and how yoga has healed them and you've seen
Yeah.
the magic? Clearly, your life is magic itself. But beyond your story,
Yeah,
where
there are many, many, many stories. But the ones I usually cherish is when the infertility couple come to me when they've done a couple of IVF and they've failed and they want to go for adoption. And I say, just give me a year's time. And then when I explain to them that pregnancy is not just bone and flesh, it's a heart-womb connection. And then getting their foods right, getting their body cleansed, then getting the basics right. And when the magic happens, and every birthday when they say, the smile in my house is just because of you, that really brings tears in my house. Each and every birthday, they make sure they tell me. Like this, there are like around 700, 800 kids whom Sankalp Yoga has given in the last decade. And looking forward for more such magic to happen.
700, 800 kids. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Okay. That's truly magic in the
Especially breast cancer ladies and arthritis ladies. Women are lost in their home, cooking for their children, taking care of their house. They just forget themselves. They're just giving, giving, giving. So there is nothing which they're receiving in the family, and that's when they start getting diseases. And the moment they slow down and stop doing the housework is when people start showing their true colors. So the 25 years of what the woman has done to the house doesn't matter. It's just that the moment she becomes sick, they feel that she's of no use. And that's when the lady in the house understands that she needs to take care of herself. Then only she'll be able to take care of the other people. And such kind of different stories really touch me, especially breast cancer when it comes relapse and it comes. That's because they're still not changing their nature of giving, where there is no receiving happening at the other hand. Naturally it's going to come back in the form of pain to them. Those kind of cases, when I change, that makes a major difference. And thyroid disease, it's been very much put into the head, once thyroid pill, always thyroid pill. So even people who have taken thyroid pill for 10, 12 years, the moment I have told them to speak what they feel like and to not speak what the other person wants to hear, the thyroid just goes away from the body. And a lot of changes in the diet, of course, and a lot of affirmations to be done and such things to be done. So thyroid and diabetes reversal is very, very common. PCOD cases, it's like in a class 10 people will have this issue because they're not accepting their femininity. They all want to be masculine. Yes, we need to be masculine when you want to achieve something in your career or whatever it is. But the moment you come home, you need to get back into your femininity. Most of the women are not getting back into their feminine femininity at all. They're masculine at work and at home. How will the femininity be alive inside? That's the major issue. And telling such things, correcting their mindset, because I see them every single day. So every person who comes here is like a kid to me, and then polishing that kid and sending him out is what I do here the most.
So you are like big mama for all of.
Yeah, Mother India, as they call me.
Okay. So now, in Ayurveda, there are three body types. There's
Yes.
Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So each one of us is in one category. If you go into just basic human structure and study. So as part of your therapy, is that also a study that you do and
Yes,
incorporate into the customized ideas that you give
very much.
entire week for the
Very
client?
much. As you said, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, the three types. So Vata people are the most difficult people to be kept in the class. because they want constant change and constant moving. And those people get around 80 kind of diseases. Those category of the people get the highest form of diseases. The pitta type of people, they always want change, something change. Inflammatory kind of diseases come to this kind of people. And then kapha type of people, they only get 12 kind of disease and they don't move only. And there the obesity comes in. So when I see the diseases and when I see the body type, it's just like an imprint. So for kapha people, I make them move fast. For vata people, I have to put them into stability, which is the most difficult task for me in the class. Pitta type of people, to keep them calm, to keep them cool on the mat is something another level of stress to me. We work with each one of them according to their body type. So kapha people, I will not allow them to sit. Usually their classes are for 2 hours. Whereas pitta type people, they need only 45 minutes, but they want to do more and more. So I have to put them 45 minutes off and then I have to put them into something else. Whereas this vata people, they want constant change. Today I've done something, tomorrow something, but they cannot be stable. To get that stability in the mind is a big task. So here everybody, 20 people will be doing their own sequence according to their body type and the speed in which what is required. And that creates the magic.
So you have a team to help you with this?
Yeah, I have a team. Backhand, I have 5 people, and on the floor, I have 4 people.
So it's a big team put together, getting the things going in your class. Okay. And now, when we talk about yoga, what is it that a layman who has not ever tried? Okay, now because of the International Yoga Day, there are a lot of WhatsApp forwards which come about basic stretching, which many people are doing. And now, because we have all moved into sedentary work from home, most of us are sitting in front of the laptop like this and working the whole day. So if we want to incorporate yoga as part of an everyday routine, but not like go for a class because of time and other factors, what are some of the basic things that people should take care in order to make sure that their health on if you take the spectrum of good health to not so good health, in that spectrum, just to maintain the good health aspect, what is it
movement, keep moving. So small movements like wrist movement, toe movement, neck movement, twisting on the sitting chair, moving backward, forward, keeping the right leg on the left thigh, trying to just bend. So the very minimal things movement is something which is very much required if you want to keep yourself healthy. Otherwise, the 11th system in the body, the lymphatic system, when it doesn't function is when all the lymphs gets collected and each organ starts to get affected in its own way. Movement is something which is very, very much required.
So the lymphatic system is something that we need to take care of.
And that's the least system which is given importance. And also every week, earlier we used to all have oil bath, sun bath. Nothing is working now. Now they need to understand that lymphatic drainage is very, very required.
Yeah.
And in yoga, when you practice the Surya Namaskaras, when you practice the inversions, the entire lymphatic system gets drained by itself. And that 1 hour of practice is required to correct all the functioning of the body, to correct the structural defects because of sitting. So yoga is nothing, yoga chikitsa is nothing but improving the functioning of the body and correcting the structural defects.
And then many people now have inflammation in different parts of their body. And is it something which is a recent phenomenon, or people have always had inflammation, but it was not diagnosed as inflammation?
Yeah, as I said, the pitta type people are the one who will have the maximum inflammatory disorders. That's the nature of the body. And it used to be existing from before, but now the kind of food what we are getting, especially the GM modified food, and then the microwave heated food or the ready to eat food, and then somebody who is not cooking with love, especially, that is very important. And I emphasize on that because people feel cooking is like one big job. Actually, a feminine energy should be basically nourishing and then caring. So those two are not there. And even the person who cooks the food also matters the most. And then nowadays it's not with love. It's like it's a duty to be performed, or it is just our time, something you have to eat. So basically food is the main thing which needs to be taken care of. And then the inflammation is nothing but constant pressure in the mind, because your body is not resting. And then that's why your body is running, your flight fright mode is high all the time. And that's where the inflammation starts in the body. When your body is not resting, people are sleeping, but their mind is still running. And that's where it happens. And when we say people to meditate, the first reason they give for yoga is head down, leg up, and then I'm not flexible. When we say people to meditate, the moment we say the meditate word, they get a picture of somebody sitting under a tree wearing orange clothes, who doesn't have to pay the bill, who doesn't have to cook, or who doesn't have to bother about anything else. So for them, meditation means somebody who has to do nothing like we do in our regular daily basis. And those people only meditate, is what is in people's head. But actually, to carry on your daily chores without any stress, whether to the physical body or mental or emotional body, that is what is called as meditation. So the ancestors or the ancient people have got meditation into our life, so that we function to the optimal level without any harm to our physical body, or giving more clarity to us mentally, emotionally, giving us stability, and also giving spiritual connection. So people, for them, meditation means there many people send doctor prescription, teach meditation. I'm like, they can't sit for 2 minutes. How will they meditate? So I say, first work on your physical body, then come to your mental body. Otherwise, they will not be able to handle their own thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. And especially today, when there is so much happening, social media is the next big space where most of us are lost. How do you, can you give some simple tip on how you handle your thoughts and bring them to one point?
So first is introspection. By the end of the day, how your day was, or how you would have made it a better day, or how your conversations would have been better, or how you would have handled the situation. That introspection which you do at the end of the day actually makes you a better person. And then also planning your next day, and keeping it minimal, and not trying to do the whole month thing in one day. That also makes a major difference. And then also I feel the social media should be taken in a positive way, rather than taking it as a negative influence. And then it's all in your hand, like to control it. Like 30 minutes is quite good to understand what is happening around you and all that. But more than 30 minutes where you're lost in that imaginary world, or a unnatural world, that's an addiction again. So I would like to call it as an addiction if you're doing more than 30 minutes.
Okay, now you 30 minutes is an ideal time. Clearly, not something that many people can follow. But when you talk about yoga and an ideal life, Suma, a typical ideal day for an individual to maintain a healthy lifestyle, what is that ideal day? Like, if you're going to divide the day, how is it supposed to be?
Okay, so I will share my schedule. I wake up at 3:30 in the morning. Then I do my chakra meditation. Then I do my few other sadhanas which I have been initiated into. Then 4:30 to 5:30 is my practice time. 5:30 I have my bath, oil pulling, and then I'm set to the studio. Then I work till 12. In between, I have my whatever, till 12, I'm on liquid and fruits. 12 o'clock, I have my sharp lunch. Then 12 to 3 is my home time, and then other engagements other than the class. Then 3 to 3:40, I do something called Yoga Nidra, so that I have the energy for the next half of the day. Then again, I have classes from 4 to 6. 6, I end class. 6 o'clock, then I do my introspection, how the whole day went, or what are the things to be got into thing. 6:30, I'm back home. Then I do my prayers. 6:30, again have bath and do my prayers. Then I eat my lunch, dinner by 6:40. And then after that, 7:30, I go for my walk, 7:30 to 8:30. 8:30, I'm done. 8:30 to 9:30 is my family time, where I speak to my people in the house, because that's the time they come in. To my daughter, to my son, like how the day was, what are the things they have done, and then speak to my father, and then all the people in my life. And then 9:30 I cut off from everybody. 9:30 I go to my room, and then I just do a few breathing and chanting for myself, and few affirmations to and gratitude just before going to bed. And then 9:30, 9:40 I'm off. So this is my routine, Monday to Friday. Fridays evening I do go out with family and friends. I break the pattern on Friday. Again, Saturday and Sunday it's a little bit different pattern which I follow. And yes, there are days, especially during my cycle, where I take 2 days complete off. I do not meet anybody. I don't come to the workplace. Neither I do any work at home. So those 2 days I take up to plan for my entire next month. So I plan my month according to my cycle. During my cycle, 1 week, it is completely low profile, where it's more of inward, especially when I'm ovulating. And just after ovulation is when I do the maximum workshops and all the work. So I have divided it between my cycles so that I don't stress myself, because already I'm doing too many things together. And this is what is put into RedTent also, to teach girls how they can work to their optimal level, planning your whole time around the cycle. So I work with my cycle.
Wow. I really like this concept of red tent. Is the name with an intention that you call it red tent?
Yeah, because every time I used to get cycle, for me, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I wanted to go inside my room and close the room. And then also there were a lot of restriction of touching things and all that. So always I wanted one space of 5 days where nobody enters, and it's my own space. So that's why I've called it as red tent.
Okay. And what exactly was the idea behind starting this as your CSR project?
I felt it was time to give back to the society and empower more girls, because I was into confusion and hating my periods for almost a decade. And once I started celebrating my period every single month, I've seen what it has done to me. And then I just wanted to share these things, and then I didn't want people to pop up pills and then insert silicone into their system, or the chemical pads. And then I treat a lot of infertility clients. So I have seen that the more they have been using this kind of pills and then thing, their cycles are stopping very faster. I felt somewhere I should work at the root level base, where I can correct those things in their mind and help them love their periods and celebrate their periods, basically, so that they are better women. When they understand themselves, it is very easy to handle people around them, or to carry on the relationships which they are going to get in, because we play multiple roles: mother, daughter, so many roles are there around us. So if you have to play with all of this role and do justice, first they have to do justice to their own system and then understand themselves. Basically, that was the concept. I know it's a big thing. It's from 3 years we have been running things. It's going good. People are like loving it. And then when we get emails from the girls that, no, ma'am, my pains have gone. I do not have pain anymore. And then a lot of emails when they say we have started liking ourselves, and then we are loving ourselves. So these are all small things. When we bring about those changes in those little girls' heart, which I was missing, I feel really content.
Yeah, yeah. The concept is very beautiful, Suma, where you fall in love with yourself. And the girls that you give these lessons to and you actually mentor are children from the economically weaker section. Like you cover only Bangalore, or you go elsewhere?
No, we go, so this distribution of sanitary pads, cotton sanitary pads, and this kind of red tents where they do the yoga practice are set up in rural places. And then also we run this program in the urban schools also, but we do not give them because they can afford, and we give them the links where they can buy. And those girls also have changed a lot. And then once you teach the power of your femininity, they will not go wrong in their basics. And when we teach that the body is a temple, where they how to keep a temple, they do not go wrong with the basics. Hope you understood what I tried to convey. So
Yeah.
that's something which we have very clearly put into the program, to treat their body as a temple and to keep their body very clean, whether it is through thoughts, actions, or deeds. and that's how your system is going to be alive. And many people ask, like, how you look so young, even at 40 plus. I say it's the beauty is not in the skin. There are two kinds of beauty basically. One is with the skin, which is going to fade away. The one is with your kind heart. How kind you have kept your heart and how kind you have kept your actions and words, that reflects on your face. And that those kind of concepts to be bought into children's mind, they need to love themselves. When they are kind to them, they can be kind to others. When they are not kind to them, they can never be kind to anybody else.
That's so true.
So these are so many things, minute things. Those workshops actually change a lot of girls' life.
This is really, really beautiful and meaningful, because when for a girl, this much of her value system is clarified so early in life, I think the way she looks at herself
It's
is,
completely different.
yeah, yeah. This is so powerful, so powerful. You started this 3 years ago.
Yes.
And about 4 years ago, the whole world came on its knees thanks to the pandemic. So everyone had to get in to find out and take that inward journey forcefully, not by choice. And a lot of us understood important moments of life. Though now, getting back to the routine, many of us are forgetting it. But what have your reflections from the pandemic been, Suma?
There are two things I would like to share. First thing is that my belief in the cosmos became very, very strong. And then what it wants to play the main role in people's life, it's very clear. The cosmos knows how to stop or when to start and when to begin. So the whole concept of this universe, the whole concept of this energy was so stronger, more in my belief, that it made me more spiritual. So my spirituality hit to the skyrocket during pandemic. And then one more is that I felt that it's just one life. We need to leave the life to the optimum level rather than thinking of the baggages or anything like that. It's just today. That's it. And that's what meditation is all about. Just being in the present moment is something which I enjoy. And that's what pandemic taught me, that it's just today, this second, and whatever you can fill in those time in others people life is like the biggest thing which you can do to this universe. So these two things were very, very touching in this pandemic to me.
We are at that point where I request you to share 3 life lessons that
Okay.
you'd like to leave us.
So basically, the first one would be whatever you chose to do, give your 100% into it, whatsoever. Don't do it, don't do anything half heartedly or with a doubt. If you have a doubt, revisit, then make it a choice. And then after that, no looking back. So this is something which I learned in my journey. Yes, there was a lot of doubts when like things were not working, and then a lot of things. So I started with the shed of my friend for 3,000 rupees. And within 4 months, I was in a studio, in a aerobic studio, and then it was into my own place. So that was the magic when I believed, give 100% whatsoever and never doubt what you want to do. So this is one lesson I always say to people, give your 100% whatsoever. And then the positive mindset behind it is very, very important. The second thing is that always I say, life is a constant process of changing. Rather than calling it changing, I would say it as evolving, and then accepting it, accommodating it, and adjusting for it is like a flow which makes your life a celebration. Never resist the flow. And many people, they always want things their way. And I always say, just adopt, accommodate, and adjust. This is what my Bihar School of Yoga taught, the 3 A's, which I always follow in every step of my life. And I think so that's made my life a celebration every single day. And the third thing is, like, as I spoke about the beauty earlier, it's not about the skin, it's about the kind heart, which makes the major difference. And that's how you resonate with the universe. And then once you start resonating with the universe, nothing can stop you. This is something which I have like felt. That's how I've been living my life.
And as far as yoga is concerned, today is International Yoga Day. So, is there any message that you'd like to give?
Yeah, I would like more people to start Mysore style classes and then not stick to the contemporary where they are like dancing to the voice of the instructor for 1 hour. When you want a designer for your dress, you want a designer for every single thing. Why not a designer for your yoga? That's what I always say. And when you're doing something, do it wholeheartedly, and then also find the right place, the right kind of practice. Don't keep jumping from one place to the other. You're not going to find anything. Stick to one place, stick to our teaching, and that, as I said to you earlier also, don't expect anything from the mat. It will give you in infinite ways, and this is what I have learned.
Flow, surrender, detached attachment, such beautiful concepts that you brought out in the conversation. Summa, Ramesh, thank you so much. It was an honor having you on You and I with Rashmi Shetty. May your tribe increase and the work that you do. May God bless you and help you reach more and more people for the amazing work that you're doing to your clients and through Red Tent as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rashmi. It was indeed, it was like a introspection class for myself. It was like a rewinding of my 2 decades and then what I have to do next. So that gave me a lot of clarity. And I think so this is also going to be make a lot of change in myself because you took me backward and now I know where I have to start again.
Thank you. A pleasure completely. God bless you, Summa.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rashmi.
With that, we complete this episode of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Do let us know if you know inspirational people whose story needs to be heard. You can write in at rashmi.thethirdeye@gmail.com. That is rashmi.thethirdeye@gmail.com.